Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm showing you a game today between myself, Terran player, and a zerg player. This is a great game for several reasons. One, because even though if you watch the Major League Gaming tournament in Anaheim this last week, for somehow all the top Terran players beat all the top zerg players, but in my conversations with other Terran players, Zerg usually gets the best of us for some reason. So I've tried to duplicate the builds of MLG and MVP, but it's not just the build that they do, it's the micro they do. And so I have been trying to duplicate how MMA played, which is I think the blue Flame Hellion drop early, but that worked for me once, which is good because anything that works once in a while is reasonably good, unless you're, if you're in mid or upper league. But in this case, I was inspired by watching MVP win the tournament, and he beat a really good Zerg player, and so he went just tanks and marines. You can kill off just about anything with just tanks and marines. If there are like 100 mutas, then that might be hard to kill with just tanks and marines. But if there's under 20, 25 mutas and they're not upgraded, and if there's not too many ultralisks, besides that, you ought to be able to win. If there's a whole bunch of brood lords, that can be hard to kill, but it is possible to run your marines around and kill the brood lords if there's not too many of them. So the key is to prevent the other player from getting too many of anything. And usually I just feel like I'm playing defense all game long against Zerg. But you have to expand, you have to be aggressive. You have to expand by 5 or 6 minutes. You have to start expanding, or else you're just so far behind. Nothing else, you can call down mules with an extra command orbital if you pick up and land. Sometimes it's good to build a planetary fortress, but if you think about it, the orbital, if you just call down 2 mules, it more than pays for itself. So even if it gets blown up, and you need an army, it's just the fact of the matter. So you're going to get more money, and even if it gets blown up, it's still paid for itself, just 2 mules. More than paid for itself. Even though it costs 150 to upgrade it, it's 2 mules will get you about 600 minerals. So look, it's a Banalane bust, and I've got some other videos on how to defend against this, but the fact is, if you can get a siege tank out fairly quickly, it's really going to help your chances. And he doesn't get Banalane speed, and I think that's honestly one reason why he lost this game, maybe the reason why he lost this game. Not because of this one little attack, but just later on. I mean, that was pretty successful, didn't it? He did manage to bust through, but if we watch from his camera angle, look at the production tab, he's not so confident that this is going to work. He's going to have to build a couple more. Let's see what he makes here. Sorry, I'm going too slow. Well, he's not making anything. I guess he just thinks he'll send Banalanes at him. But I've got 2 siege tanks, and actually it just takes 1 siege tank to one-shot Banalanes, because 35 damage, and Banalanes only have 30, I believe, hit points. Zerglings 35, so they get 1 shot as well. But if Zerglings get any upgrades, you have to upgrade your tanks to be +1 in order for them to continue to one-shot the Zerglings. So it's always good to scout before you do anything. Just send out one Marine, just one Marine, or one SCV before you do anything. And build bunkers for your orbital. It's going to help a lot. I always am so timid to expand. It's really bad. So the third base you build, I'm in favor of choosing to build a planetary fortress. Because Zerg is so fast that they can get their units around the map a lot faster than you can. So in this game, I try to steal a quick third, actually get super aggressive. And you know, I can't tell you how many games I've seen where I never really noticed anything. Like, I should have built over there actually, and maybe they wouldn't have noticed, but they noticed that. So if you look at the army size, army is bigger, but and also I'm pushing out because, quite frankly, that's about the size of the army that MVP had when he pushed out, and I have no turrets, and I have very little back in my main. One thing MVP did in his victory in the tournament was he always queued his rally point against Zerg in his main, so he'd have a nice little army as long as you're building while you're attacking, and here I wasn't really sure what to do, whether to attack or try to come back. And the problem with coming back is these guys will do this to you all day long. So even though he kills so many of my SCVs, and the harvester count is down to 44 to 10, and I've got nothing here that is really going to help. Fortunately, my Marines are stimmable. I have enough money to make enough to bother him, and actually I really should have emptied these out earlier. I just kind of forgot I had them. And I just had a counter. Like, fine, if you're going to attack me, then I'm going to attack you, and hopefully I can do something to neutralize the aggression you are doing to me. And what do you know? Sure enough, there's little he can do about it. I can't do anything about his attack, but he can't do anything about my attack. So I think this was the right decision. Our base trade, if we look at what he's making a bunch of spine crawlers, and I really should have ran up in here, but I didn't know what he had in there, and I wanted to be cautious. So plus I was still trying to kill off these. I definitely should have gotten rid of my poor little blue flame hellions, which I did make, but just not in order to try to do any fancy smancy early drops. So I finally remember I have these 8 Marines here. I'm able to drive away the Muta threat. So terribly annoying. And I take a little very cautious journey up here, and I see I was able to kill 2 of these spine crawlers, and the 2 tanks were almost dead. And of course he saw me as soon as I unsieged, and that's when he decided to attack. I should have only unsieged 2 of my tanks. I'm so bad at microing. So that was expensive. Don't make any mistake about it. That cost him a lot to do that. But he is so far out of me in economy that you're going to say, there's no way you could come back and win this game. Well, I think this is a good example as to why you shouldn't just tap out of a game, because I played against somebody else today who was like, come on, GG, so rude, because I didn't tap out as quickly as he wanted me to. And he did win that game. However, I think this is a great example as to why you may not want to tap out. I mean, as long as you are a Terran and you have the ability to call down 8 mules, it's going to boost your economy back to be fairly reasonable. And I did have some troops left. I had many troop production capabilities left. And look at this mother load of Zerg troops coming down to attack. He probably thought I didn't have much left, because he did, after all, kill all of my SCVs. But you know, these are not upgraded, or not on not defensively upgraded units. So my one siege tank gets to one-shot all of them and do splash damage to many of them. And he really perhaps wasted them killing that orbital command center, because if he instead had focused on killing the Marines, he probably would have won that battle in the war. But he kind of misprioritized there a little bit, gave me a chance, and these SCVs are simply miscued. So here we wasted 2 banelings. Many more banelings being made. You know, because I was able to kill quite a few of his harvesters. An earlier attack. I guess he wasn't that far ahead of me in economy. And superior micro will win a game for you. Not that I really out-microed him in this game. But maybe I did, because he chases this Hellion around, for instance, and lets my tank shoot at them up here. So I continue to do this dance. 24 damage. I only need to shoot these guys twice for them to die. And meanwhile, I'm able to build a couple more tanks and some Marines. So here's a good example of how you can really occupy the attention of your zerg player and not allow him to do anything else. Until certain units making a terrible attack where all of his units get killed immediately. So that went really well for me, as you can see, all those units. And now I have the army advantage. And I decided to go ahead and counter because I knew that was a whole lot of troops I'd killed. And the fact is, with these tanks, as long as you put the tanks in the right place, if you siege them up in the right place and dance your Marines around them, you're going to be able to kill an awful lot of troops. Plus I had a couple of blue flame Hellions. So here's a bunch of more banelings who do very little damage, even though I did not split my Marines at all. So now you can see on the tab that, well, he's back down to 25. I'm not sure how high he got. But, quite frankly, we're pretty even now. 2 bases to 2 bases. And he's up on me by 10 harvesters, which is reasonable if you have 2 orbital commands. You can catch up with mules. So I love how Blue Flame Hellions just completely mow away Zerglings, and he really should have switched to roaches or something, or probably gotten more mutas. But I did have enough Marines to take him. So in the early game, that's when Terran is more equal to the Zerg. I think in the late game, Zerg just gets so much stronger once they get things like Brood Lords and Ultralix. I mean, it's not like you can just pop out 250mm Thors instantly if you see Ultralisks, and it's hard to predict what the Zerg player is going to make. You know, it'd be nice if you could pop out 10, one-shot Thors and deal with the Ultralisks, but it doesn't work that way. And there's no reason to give it an upgrade unless you know he's making Ultralisks. So it's kind of frustrating. I would switch to Zerg maybe, but I don't like bugs, so I'm kind of against bugs. I'm a Terran after all, in real life. So this time I decided to go Planetary Fortress down here, because I'm tired of it having to defend it, be worried about it, and he did make some more mutalisks. So when it comes down to something like this, I think whoever micros better will win. I mean, if you have a pretty even army, pretty even income, which I believe we do now, yes. Just whoever micros better is going to win the game. And also who has the right unit composition, so I mean, he's able to do some damage over here, but what's gonna stop me from completely cutting off all of his supplies? He has no way to get any income because he's all mined out at his main. And here comes the reinforcements. So this is what MVP did. He rallied his reinforcements to his main, so when the really fast zerg units counterattack, which they always do because they're so fast, you don't have to worry about it. And I just had to go ahead and kill this off. It took me long enough to figure it out. He's building 3 more spine crawlers. He's got about 4, 8, 12 banelings. So I was pretty sure some banelings were going to come out of the base, because what else is he going to make to attack these marines? Of course, actually, his zerglings might have been a better choice. He kind of wasted some money because fortunately I did decide to split up my marines down here. So for every 1 baneling, he actually is losing money, and he doesn't have any money to spare. It's kind of funny when he attacks, and he's completely supply cut off, and look at that. So at one point I had 0 harvesters, but at this point he has 0 minerals coming in, and his 23 harvesters are not helping him. So I hope you enjoyed watching this game. He could have GG'd now. I wasn't going to ask him to. I didn't know how many bases he might have had snuck around the map. Spread some marines out to see, just to scout. And one thing you can do as Terran too is you can make a Viking and just send it around and he did have all these mutas still. One thing you can do, you can send a Viking around the screen. Here we go. Last stand. Custard's last stand. But he actually has no minerals, so he is only able to distance mine. He's not going to be able to distance mine if he chooses to attack my Blue Flame Hellions with his last few remaining drones. So hope you enjoyed it. I was saying you can make a Viking fly around the map, try to take map control back from these overlords that are parked everywhere, and but sometimes it doesn't work because usually there's a bunch of mutas somewhere on the map for just such a thing. Well, have a good day. See you guys next time.